On today's episode of Heights Chronicles, we're taking you to the heart of the hood at the famous Triangle building in Alianza Dominicana, New York City, where we got to have a sit down with two legendary brothers, the Washington Heights Dominican Lefty, aka Ismael, and my brother Señora, aka Raymond. They each share a special story on life on the streets in the early 90s and NYC's cocaine era, the ups and downs in the game, and how fortunate they are to still be here and tell us about it. So without further ado, I want you to sit back and enjoy today's episode of Compañia, the Washington Heights Dominican Lefty and Ses One story, right here on the Heights Chronicle. Keep it going and keep it growing. The promo used only, not intended for mature phonies. It's for the world, all my real ones and true homies. The following content I present may contain real topics for your brain, not intended for you lame. The Chronicles, taking you to elevated heights. Lights, camera, action is factual, factuation on facts, water and land. While we travel the globe, the ghost will touch every soul. Let's go. You already know what it is. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you. Thank you.
It, man.
Thank you. For me, it's a pleasure and an honor.
Just a little background story. I haven't seen my brother for about 30 years, and we're gonna explain why in a little while. You know what I'm saying? Left. Welcome to the show. First and foremost.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Man, brother. First, Left. Tell everybody what hospital were you born in?
I was born, well, I mean, I don't know if you know, well, you know I have a sister, you know, she's...
Yes, you're a twin.
We're a twin, so
yes.
We're fraternal twin.
Yes.
So at the time, and back in the 70s, you know, it's not like with the technology nowadays. We was born, it's either or. I was born in Lincoln and transferred over to Jacoby, or was born in Jacoby and transferred over to Lincoln.
So you was born in the Bronx?
Yeah, I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I was born in the Bronx, correct. Okay. Raised in Washington Heights.
And like, how old were you when you moved to the Heights, more or less?
No, well, I mean, my mom always lived in the Heights. She just
gave birth in the Bronx.
Yeah, because of the technology at the time. You know, like I said, you know, we was transferred over because at the time we was born 7 months premature. So, you know, they needed incubators and stuff like that, which they didn't have in every hospital. And that's the story with that, or so I've been told.
That's
you know?
crazy. And you always lived in 191st?
Always, my whole. Yeah, that's right. That's the hood, man.
From day one. And as a child, how would you describe your youth coming up in the hood?
I mean, it was challenging. You know what I mean? It was very challenging. You know. Coming from a single parent home, you know, it wasn't easy.
When did Dad leave? You knew Dad? You know Dad?
Yeah, of course. I always knew my dad, you know, okay. But my dad, you know, he moved out. You know, I would think I was like 7 or 8.
That's the
so
same time.
For me, it was always a challenge, man, because you know, as far as like having that male figure, you know, I think, you know, now that I look back, you know, I was always searching for that.
Yeah.
You know. And you know, with that comes a lot of things come into play, man.
Correct.
You know, as far as becoming a young adult, a young man, and not really having that guidance. You know, and I didn't have no older brothers.
Correct.
You know,
it was just you and your sister.
It was me and my sister. I have 2 brothers younger than me. So for my personal experience, you know, it was difficult, man. It wasn't, you know.
Would you say that you had a troubled youth? Growing up,
I wouldn't say a troubled youth. You know, now that I look back, you know, it was, you know, coming from a single parent, you know, my mother did show us, you know, hard work and determination. You know, my mother was very, very strict, as you know, Dominican parents, you know, when they have a certain mindset, that's what it is, you know, and they don't deviate from that, you know.
Were you a good student in school?
I was smart, okay. And I was a good student.
Okay.
But now that I look back at a lot of things, you know, at the time, you know, my mind was always wandering, you know. Yeah. So I would say that, you know, I had probably some, you know, I wouldn't say learning disabilities, but, you know.
Trouble focusing?
Trouble focusing, yes.
Okay.
You know, but if I apply myself to whatever I apply myself.
You succeeded.
I succeeded. It was just getting to the moment of applying myself, you know.
And did you get to graduate high school?
No, I didn't, man. I didn't. Okay. You know, you know, 10th grade I got kicked out of high school. You know.
Okay. So let's go back just a little bit. when did you get into the hustling game?
It was just right around that time, you know. I would say like my freshman year,
14?
That's where all the trouble started.
Okay.
In terms of me, not being connected, and doing my due diligence with schoolwork and by that, because as I'm getting older, you get this sense of I'm old enough to do whatever I want. And as I was getting older, I had a very, very, very strict parent, which was my mom, right? But as I got older, there came a point where she couldn't control me.
Yeah.
And and I started, seeing things, noticing things, and it led the need of wanting and desiring to have led to all these, to this transformation, which was, starting to get involved into the street life,
And at what age? You say 14, 15, more or less?
I mean, I gotta do the math. Probably like 15 during high school. I started cutting. That's how it started. Started cutting school, cutting class, and then, guys in my neighborhood, were older guys that were, doing their thing, and now you be like, okay, and you get the sense of, like that family that you're searching for, and then one thing
in the streets.
Yeah, and then
and tell everybody who was your crew growing up? Because you were like in the middle of like 191st and but
191st, 193rd,
193rd,
right? Because 192nd, who I used to, to this day I still hold, in my heart, because he was always a good friend.
Yeah.
Pablito.
Okay, Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo for 192nd. So it's
Correct.
like it was like you have 191st where we as kids we were playing baseball and all that.
Yeah.
But that little group there was rowdy.
My little group.
Yeah, your little group. Now that I your little group, and
yeah.
Most of y'all was Met fans too, and I remember that.
Yeah, we all Met.
And you guys used to try to people the younger kids.
Chiquito.
Yeah.
Not Jimmy. Jimmy's a Yankee fan.
Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, correct. But I remember you guys be like, "Oh, you come up. Who's your team?" And be like, "I'm a Yankee." And then you guys try to,
Yeah.
But that those are childhood stuff,
When you started the game, were you doing hand in hand pitching?
No, I never really worked on the block. I never did that.
You went straight to the top, man. You started like at a higher level.
At a higher level, if you want to think of it that way, yeah,
And who was this person that believed in you and gave you the work? I said, yo, I need, or take this and.
Well, the way it started was, right, I started associating, with a few of the guys that were like doing it, you know what I mean? Because everybody else in the neighborhood was just, a spot here, doing that. But as far as moving work and really doing it, I think at the time we were one of the main, if not the main. You understand? Because not to put nobody else down, because God knows what everybody else was doing, but I know at the time, for a short amount of time, we were that plug that was really pushing all the work that was coming through there, And again, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the way I started was, I started carrying keys. I used to leave school and I take it to so and so. Take it to so and so. And of course, I was always, I wouldn't say innovative, but I'm always thinking 2-3 steps ahead.
Correct.
So and I was trusted. That's another thing. I didn't have no habits. I wasn't a smoker. I wasn't a drinker, even from young. Not that I've never had a drink. But it wasn't my thing. I was attracted to money.
Correct.
That's what I wanted. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Correct.
And I knew that with money, other things will follow.
And to your credit, you were very low key with it during the time. You wasn't flashy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We weren't flashy. I mean, I remember as we started making, exorbitant money. That now that when you think about it, I remember times where I'd be in my mom's house and I'd be like, and I used to just tell her, Mom, you don't have no idea the amount of money that's in this neighborhood.
Now, you say that, I remember Vitico.
He's from your block.
My block, in my basement. And I remember garbage bags of shit. Whether it was money, work, I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah.
But it was garbage bags of shit that used to be in his house, which is at the basement.
Yes.
Or whatever. If you remember, there was a time he had like a little restaurant shit going in the back as well, and there was a lot
and
of.
that's why we pulled out of there, just too many people coming in, and it was just too much.
But the motherfucker wasn't low key. Vitica was a nutcase.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? He wasn't low key about it, fam. So me, still being like around your age, still being young, we knew that there was shit in there, and we knew who it was from, or whatever, and Vitica with his wild ways, that motherfucker, wasn't really discreet with it, and I want that's what I want to talk about, because could we say Tom was the boss?
Yeah, he definitely was. He's the one that really, had the connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had the plug, and he put us on.
And his connect was strictly blow or heroin, or it extended to everything?
It extended to both,
Okay.
which at the time the main product was obviously cocaine.
Okay.
and also dope, but we chose not to really, dive into. Not only it was too hot, because when you think about it, when you're moving at that level, it's gonna be hot regardless.
Yeah.
However, I would probably say it was easier to get rid of because our neighborhood catered to that, as opposed to seeing dope fiends, always looking for that bag. Which I'm not saying we didn't have, but we mostly had our fiends were more attracted to crack than anything else. You understand? And then you had your low key old heads Dominican that they like their stuff. You know what I mean?
Correct. Now, Washington Heights, just a little backstory. Our neighborhood, I want to say, was mostly controlled by Irish, and
German, some Italians.
Germans, some Italians, and then as far as the Latinos came about, the Cubans were really holding it down before Dominicans were.
Yes, I would agree.
Is that a correct statement?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree. There was a few Cubans, because we remember we had a couple bars that the main bars were owned by Cubans.
Correct. And they were the original money getters as far as the underground world was concerned.
That is true.
And they were very low key about it. To my Cuban peoples, I love y'all. To this day. Now, Tom. My building was hot. And I remember Tom when he first got here, probably off the boat.
Imagine
to the States. And he was working in my building. He was working in my building. And I remember always having a great relationship with him because I guess he saw me as a little kid that was always around, and I lived in the building where he was, where he first started in the game or whatever. But I never saw the transition of him working in my building to becoming Tom the way he was. I think that transition came about when during the time of the death of Ruben, rest in peace, Ruben.
There was a lot of things that led to where I think you're leading to.
Okay.
I think I don't remember him from that time in terms of him being on that side of the block.
Yeah.
I remember Ruben.
Yeah.
I didn't know of Tom.
Okay.
But
are they really brothers?
Yeah, they were brothers. Yeah, they were brothers.
Okay.
They were brothers. But remember, Tom came from DR.
Yeah.
Ruben was born here.
He was already here.
And Ruben was like Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? He had that.
So they got different parents?
I think so, yeah. I think they have different parents because Ruben's mom was Dominican and Ruben's dad was Colombian. Okay?
Wow.
And I'm almost 98% sure on that.
Okay.
But the transition was that what I remember was legend has it that he owned a spot on 192nd, and
Ruben?
No, Tom.
Tom.
Ruben I think was running in the Bronx, and used to hang out in the block. You know what I mean?
He lived in the block.
Yeah, I think he lived on the block. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But the truth was that, in make it short, right? Tom had a spot in the block on 192nd, and one of his workers got stuck up. Okay.
I remember him being on 182nd.
And one thing about Tom, man, Tom at the time, man, he was the real deal, bro. Like he really didn't, go too far to think, to
get rid of somebody.
If he was in the way.
Of course.
You wouldn't know just by day-to-day dealings.
He was the coolest dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
In his blood, he was like that.
That going back to when I met him, he took a liking of me. And, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I was always in the mail. I was a little kid from the building or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And me and him were like super. I thought he was like a great guy, and I just barely knew him because I remember him like fresh on the block.
So what happened was, right, his worker got stuck up.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, from his mouth, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Tom.
Which I think we'll talk about that later.
Definitely.
He told his worker, go, there was a restaurant on 189. He said, go sit next to him and he's gonna look you in the face. And chances are he's gonna stand up. So the guy, that's exactly what happened, The guy was all nervous, because I remember Tom telling us the stories.
So the guy had robbed him, but then he was able to meet up with him.
He told Tom, listen, the guy that robbed me, he's eating over here. So Tom told him, don't worry about it.
Was he a local dude?
I think he was a local dude,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So Tom said, don't worry about it, just stay right there, cool, calm. Tom left 182nd, he was in the apartment, and went and sat next to the guy. The guy, once the guy that stuck up his worker saw the worker, right, he stood up and went back to the bathroom. And Tom did what he did, you know what I'm saying?
So
that was at the time. So that's what happened. That's why Tom now sells the spots and heads down to Florida, and he starts working down there. He starts working. This is the early 90s. So he started. This is, I would say, like 89, 90, 91, in that time frame. So he starts working as a painter, legit. He has some money. I think he buys a house and whatnot. He sets up shop down there in terms of trying to live a normal life. But that doesn't leave you. You know what I'm saying? For some, right? He meets a Colombian guy, right? El Costeño, right? And the Costeño, who was a local Colombian who was moving work in that area, right? In Florida, yeah, in Miami, and gives him work. I think he gave him, I think it was like 20 pieces, something like that. Mind you, I'm still not in the picture, right? But I know of the story because we always used to talk about.
This was Tom's coming up.
All right. So what Tom did, being an I don't give a fuck attitude, I think, having that, Dominican blood in him, not to talk bad about our people, but is just having like the bravado, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what he did was he took the work. Now the Colombian dude, right, knows him from him painting houses and all that.
Yeah.
And I guess in conversation told him, hey,
Correct.
And at the time, Dominicans were major players.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So he took the work, and what do you think he did? He didn't move it down there. He ran it right up here and drove up here, and within 2 days he's going back down with all the money. So now the Colombian dude says like, yo, it takes me, because he's been doing it for a while. So he says, how the hell this guy moved 20 pieces that quick? And all cash, boom, money's good, everything is good. He didn't tell him nothing, he gave him another work. This time, I think he gave him double of whatever he got on the first time. Everything has its ups and downs. It took Tom a little longer. I think it took him, instead of 2-3 days, it took him about a week.
Correct.
Now the Colombian dude starts getting nervous, right? So when he gets back down, Tom feels compelled to tell him the story. Tell him, this is what I did. Yeah. That guy was going bananas. He's like, yo, who gave you the authority to take this work out of the state? I need to know, because everything needs to be like, always have to be on the up and up. You just can't make decisions I can't make decisions with your work. That was the code of the street.
You could have just left.
And he's breaking that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now the Colombian dude says, you know what? We don't have an office in New York. Let me put this guy up there. And that's what happened. And that's how it transitioned. Tom started coming around. They started moving some work. And then, I'm on the block just hanging out. He'll pull up with the Jeep. And he'd be like, oh, here, you know, not to get a ticket. You know, before you double park and just leave it there.
Take the Jeep.
So I'm a young kid, you know what I'm saying? I said, damn, yo, nice truck, you know, whatever. He'd come in different cars. And I hold the keys. And nothing ever would happen to the car. And that's how it started. You know. Yeah. Then they started bringing me around. I go to the apartment, and one thing led to another. And again, you know, coming back to I didn't have no habits. You know, the trust issue was very important.
Cool young kid,
you know. And not only that, it just the trust. You know, to have somebody that you could trust. Correct. When you're thinking about moving, you know, something that holds so much value. Correct. You know, and that's how things started spiraling. And before you knew it, I was, you know, full-fledged deep in the game.
Looking back at it, this was all happening at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it all like, you know, it all transitioned fast, you know? And as you grow, right, from his side, you need more people that you could trust.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And that you know, I guess, you know, that knows the neighborhood, from the neighborhood, and that's how things started evolving.
And at this time, was he putting in work with his brother Ruben?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, right, when Tom comes around, Ruben already had passed away. Because remember, Ruben got murdered in '92. So when that happened, you know, if I'm not mistaken, Tom started coming around, like I would say, I don't think '93, but definitely I would say after '94. '94, like mid '94 to '95. I mean, '95 was a great year.
That's when it took off.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
I can't even tell you, man.
So, I'm saying '92. Me and my brother ES. Shout out to ES. We were mischievous little dudes, and we just running around through all the, you know, we have like a large basement that connects to all the 4-cylinder blocks in my neighborhood, and we just running around through all the roofs from like 190 to Wadsworth, all the roofs in St. Nick, and we chilling in the roof of my block, and we hear a tra. Usually gunshots were like pam pam, pow pow. Well, this night we heard a tra. And ES, I remember him saying, damn, they smoked somebody. We in the roof.
That was a Friday night, I think it was.
We come downstairs. We come downstairs, and the first person that we see is Gello in Wadsworth, by the tree, and then we see him sobbing. Now this was before cell phones, and you know what I'm saying, it was probably just beepers during that time. There was no instant messaging or whatever, but he must have got that news like as soon as it happened.
Well, it happened right around the block.
It happened right around the block.
Fairview, right?
So we walking up the block, and everybody's saying, yo, somebody got shot in Fairview. And me and ES go over there, and you know, there's already the crowd of people, the police are already there. They have Ruben. Once again, rest in peace to Ruben. They have the white sheet over him already, and I see a 5.0. And you know he was...
The red Mustang.
I think it was the blue.
It was the blue. No, it was. I think at the time.
It might have been the red.
It had. No, it was
might have been the red, but
because Lee had the blue one.
Oh really? But I know that Ruben had access to a couple 5.0s. Yes. That was like his favorite ride.
Yes, sir.
Or whatever. So when I saw the 5.0, I knew that was Ruben right there. And maybe when Ses comes, he could explain a little further to us. Did Ruben die over a girl?
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Okay.
That's the rumor. I don't know too much about that because at that particular moment, Ruben died in '92. I wasn't still part of it. I wasn't. You know, remember, I'm not from 193rd. Yeah. So at the time, there was division. Now that I think about it, you know. You had Richie, Lee, you know, and that side, right?
Yeah.
And then you had your side, right? I'm in the middle. Yeah. I was the home kid, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I used to be in the block, and you know, I'll be playing wiffle ball and stuff like that. But you know, I didn't grow up like always coming out, you know, like going to your house or going. You know what I mean? I knew of you guys, and we'd be around in the neighborhood or school or stuff like that, but I wasn't part of the clique.
Yeah.
You know, on both sides.
You you was Tom's right-hand man, per se.
At one time, yeah. I was, you know,
They even like try to make it shit like you were his brother too, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you know what happened, we had a strong resemblance, me and Ruben, you know, and his mom took a liking to me, because she said that that I resemble her son. You know what I mean? I reminded her, you know, because I was a little chubby, you know, not that I'm chubby now, but what I'm saying, back in the days, you know, that young chubbiness, you know. So she felt that I reminded her of her son.
You look like Ruben, fam.
Rest in
peace, Ruben. And so that was the word. Now, how was it, man, when you was getting that money, my brother? How tell me about those days.
It was a blur, man. You know what I'm saying? Because now that I think of it, you know,
it was a lot of money left.
It was, man. It was ridiculous, man.
What's the most that you've seen in one room?
The most?
Yeah.
What, in terms of drugs or
both?
Yeah. Drugs?
Yeah.
Over 500 bricks. I remember being we had an apartment. We had two apartments. And we ran through situations and stuff. Where Mama Juana sits now on Dykeman, that apartment above it, that was a stash house for us. Wow. We had a stash house there, but back then that whole strip was quiet, so we used to get you know, apartments in that area. We had another apartment by Sickles, I think it was.
Yeah, Dykeman on Smash on the low.
Just stash.
Just a stash.
Yeah, we used to just buy an apartment just to get an apartment and to be moving around. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I remember one time we had 500 bricks, and it was a small closet, like kind of a walk-in closet. Yeah. So it had enough space, and I remember, you know, we received about 100 bricks, right? Because we was getting, on average about 100 a week.
God damn it.
Yeah, on average, and I'm not even lying to you about that. And I remember Manolo, who was Tom's right-hand man, right? Yeah. He said, "Don't go, don't leave," you know. And again, remember what I told you?
Stay in the apartment.
To stay. He said, "Yo, stay, because we're getting more work." And I'm like, "Come on, Manolo, you just want me to stay?
Yeah.
I gotta leave, man. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
You know. He says, "Don't leave, don't leave. If you leave, you're not gonna get paid." I was like, "Come on, man. You know we're not getting no work. We're not getting more work, bro." Sure enough, when I came in the next morning, about I would say 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it was, we sitting on over 500 bricks because we got double the shipment. And I was like, holy shit. Like,
this was a Colombian plug?
Yeah, Colombian. And I remember like leaning down, and I told my nose, yo, take a picture. And I went like that, and the drugs were behind me. Said, "You motherfucker, you crazy? You want this picture? You gonna go to jail?" Yeah. You know, I was young. I'm like, "Come on, bro, take a picture." You know, with a camera. I think we had a camera or whatever. You know, it wasn't.
We had these shits. It would have
been done. I would have done a selfie. 100%, I would have done a selfie.
God damn.
And in terms of money, put it like this: we had nights, because remember we bought the Colonial bar in the corner.
Yeah.
It's the dollar store now.
Yeah.
You know, and I always, when I pass by there, there's a little bullet hole there that's still there. That was Tom from inside. He said, because we put it bulletproof, right? And Tom, you know, shot it. So it just, every time I pass through there, I'll just come and I'll look close, and I remember that bullet that's there, you know? But there was times, you know, on average, that we was turning in to the Connect every night, $500 to $1 million. That's how much money we was
500,000?
500,000 to $1 million, yeah. And $1 million is heavy.
There was a lot of money in the streets during that time, man.
It was stupid money, man. It was stupid money, you know.
Because as great as this story is, there were a couple of other little crews at the same time that were close to that level of, you know what I'm saying, of getting it.
Well,
our hood.
You had the Peloteros on 188.
Yeah.
They were doing their thing. Plus, you had a few guys. Well, 188 was vicious. Yeah, 186 was vicious. It's just the level.
In the 70s as well.
Yeah, 170s, yes. We didn't know too many people down there. But on those particular blocks, they were getting work, and they had. I mean, listen, man. If you get a plug, anybody can have a plug. It's just meeting the right person.
And that's one of the things that you mentioned, the peloteros. You know, we had people like. In every hood. Here in the Heights, we had the Jerry Curls and the Wild Cowboys, and the Bronx, Boy George,
Yeah.
And every Harlem with Alpo and AZ and you know what I mean. Every hood has like the legends. You guys didn't really have like a name per se. Like what should we call y'all? Tom and them or?
I mean, I remember, you know, at one time, it's funny you say that, man, because I remember Manolo always like, what are we going to call ourselves? And Manolo used to always promote La Compañía.
A word?
La Compañía.
I ain't never heard of that, of y'all being
La
called
Compañía.
La Compañía. We just knew about you and Tom and, you know what I'm saying, and Ses One, who's going to join us shortly. Y'all was like about 6 of y'all, for the most part.
At one time, we was a little bit more, because then we started, you know, of course, we needed more people. We're getting so much work. We're counting money. Now we're not doing both in the same household, right?
Yeah.
We got the money in one area. We got the work in another, and now we have multiple places. So you need more people. Cool. So at one time, I think it was more like 8 to 10 of us.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I remember Manolo gets locked up. You know, that came further along. Manolo gets locked up with Moreno, and you know, we received some work that was coming from Puerto Rico. We started expanding right before that. You know,
I was getting work from Puerto Rico.
Everywhere, bro. We started expanding. We was
I'm thinking this is like a Colombian plug from Florida.
That was it. That evolved.
That was the beginning.
Because remember, there was a moment we was moving so much work, right?
Yeah.
Now, that Colombian's boss wants to know who the hell he's dealing with, and he has no choice but to divulge Tom.
Correct.
Right? Now she wants to meet him, and now they kind of slide this guy out the way. Like everything is just, you know, it's all about saving money, I would say, but it's also about, you know, moving work at its highest potential.
So the original Colombian guy that gave Tom the work at the beginning had a boss, and his boss was a female?
Correct.
Ooh.
La Señora, Mery, Valencia.
And y'all could Google her. Her
100%.
story. Her story is incredible.
She got extradited from Brazil.
And so y'all could do your homework on that right there. Now I wanna kind of fast forward, because like you mentioned before, everything went so fast, it seemed like a blur. When was the moment that you felt that heat was coming on you? That something wasn't right, and
there was a lot of pressure, man. There was a lot of pressure. You know, we ran through. You know, we had ups and downs, and the downs weren't easy. You know, when Manolo gets locked up, that's a transition right there. You know, so now that's when I step into the forefront in terms of, you know,
next man up.
Yeah. And we had other guys that were older than me, but weren't as trusted.
Yeah, you like I said, it always seemed like you were Tom's right hand man, looking from the outside in. And then you worry about Manolo maybe snitching as well.
That little crew, because it was a little crew. You know what I'm saying? That got arrested. So now they go to the feds.
You don't trust everybody.
No, man. That's when we started seeing, you know, I remember, bro, I started seeing, you know, cops following and be like, yo, and I'd be driving with Leah, be like, yo, you see that car? You know, I remember one time we tried to go to MCC, we couldn't get in, we didn't know the process, we wanted to go see Manolo, man. You did what I'm saying? We don't know the system.
Y'all was gonna go to the Fed joint to visit
MCC,
your man.
downtown.
Peace to Lee, Rich, Ses One, who's on his way. That was primarily your crew.
Yeah, that was us. But remember, you know, there was a moment where Richie stepped away, and Seth stepped away, and then, you know, Lee was doing his thing with, you know, someone else.
Okay.
And then now, you know, Lee is me and Lee really, like, you know, we handling the day-to-days, man. You know?
And did y'all have beef with any crews? Niggas that wanted to rob y'all, shit like that?
No, I was naive to all that shit. You know, I didn't.
You was like more of the administration part of shit. You wasn't a soldier per se in the ground.
I was hands-on, bro.
You was hands-on.
I was hands-on.
You never had
We get to work, I check the work, and I separate it, and then, you know, I was reporting to the Colombians, because, you know, there was a time where, you know, I guess with all the pressure, you know, Tom really wanted to fall back, you know, and that's, and, you know.
Tom was a smart man, right? You want to say?
He was a smart man. He was a fucked up individual, too.
Well, you have to be, I guess, right?
I guess so.
In this game, you can't be all the way there.
It could have been different, though.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it.
Looking back at it, could have been different. You know.
You never had to get your gun and put niggas under pressure, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I wasn't that. I didn't grow up with that mentality.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
My mentality wasn't really that. However, I knew that would play a part, and in order to be at a certain level, you had to have that mentality. And personally, I ran into a situation where I was kidnapped. You know, I was kidnapped. You know,
tell us about that.
I'm driving around. It was a Saturday night. You know, I'm driving around. And
you were by yourself a lot too, yo.
I was by myself that night. I was by myself. Yeah. I was always with Lee. You know, me and Lee was always.
I used to see you by yourself a lot, though. I used to see you by yourself a lot. That's us.
So, long story short, you know, I'm going to my mom's house, right? I want to go see my mom. It was late at night. So I parked in the corner, 182nd, and I crossed the street. And as I crossed the street, I hear footsteps behind me. And when I look back, it was like 12 o'clock, 12:30 on a Saturday. And it's so ironic that the block was empty.
Summertime, wintertime?
I think it was like summertime. Okay. I can't remember it was definitely
okay.
Whatever it was, I was walking to the boom and they came from behind and put me against the wall. And I said, don't move. I'm thinking it's a regular sticker. You know, I got jewelry, you know, money. I'm like, yo, take whatever you want, bro. Yeah. You know, calm.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you know what we want. And they obviously they had their eyes on me. Yeah. You know.
You ever thought it was police for a second?
No.
Nah? You knew it was something different.
They knew it was different. They sticking me up, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Long story short, I outsmarted them, but I gave them work.
Okay.
I gave them work.
You had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I gave him 17 bricks.
Too.
I gave him 17 bricks that I had.
God damn it.
In an apartment. You know, I gave it to them, and that's how I was able to, you know, because they took me down to one right around here. 150 something they took me, and they put me in a basement. They took me down. They had like 10 dudes there. You know what I'm saying? They was asking me mad questions.
Because you were the golden boy in reality. No reality. Like I said, looking from the outside in, you was the right hand man. You was the.
That's why they're targeting me. Okay, and I was out there. Tom used to just come, boom, and break out. And they wanted me to give up time.
Yeah. And
I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke to him on the phone.
I think you gave him more than enough though. 17 kids?
Yo, that's crazy, man. Now that you think about it, bro, you know, when they took me down there, they put me on the phone. I think Tom called me. And I was like, yo, where you at? I was calling him.
You had cell phones?
I was calling from a payphone. But we had cell phones that we used to pay those, you know, $200 and all that other shit.
Yeah.
Right? But I was on the payphone. I'm calling him, and he finally picks up. Right? And he says, oh, where are you? And he's asking me certain questions, and I'm like blabbering. So he knows something is not right.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to protect him because what they wanted was, you know, I knew he was in a hotel with a girl.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't want him to get ambushed.
Correct.
You understand? Yeah. So I played myself, you know, but that was the loyalty in me, man. You did what I'm saying? I played myself, you know, to take the shot at protecting him, and it turned out the way I planned. You did what I'm saying? In the moment, because I didn't plan for that, but in the moment, I quickly, you know, my mind was able to, you know what I'm saying, to think 2-3 steps ahead. I said, man, if I tell them where this guy's at, they're gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying?
And they got the word.
So. And they got the word, correct. And they wanted him.
They wanted him.
You know what I'm saying? Long story short, he kind of found out, and he kind of sensed that. You know what I'm saying? And then after I gave him the word, you know, they took me back to the block because now they want the money.
Yeah.
You know, because we had about 500, and that's around the time that we received, you know, we had work.
Yeah.
And then it was all
17 was like
I gave
$17.
bricks. I had 35 in another apartment on 192nd, and I kid you not, Pante. If I would have remembered, because my mind kind of blanked out. Because remember, I was going to my mom's house, so they knew where my mom was at. They took me up to my mom's house. My mom was sleeping. You know, they went into my room, and I told them, I said, my mom's sleeping. There's nothing here, bro. Yeah. And thank God, you know what I'm saying, that they didn't go into. And
it wasn't reckless about it.
They weren't reckless. Thank God. Yeah. That's the only thing I could probably say about the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So, but I remember closing the door behind me, and it was just like one of those, and it just banged. You know what I mean? Like we didn't lock the door, nothing. And I broke out with them. That took me down to 150 something. I gave them the work. You know what I'm saying? 17 breaks.
So you took him to the stash house?
Yeah, I took him to the stash house. I gave him 17 breaks. Then they took me to the basement. Then from the basement, now they want the cash. You know, because they were told, remember, fue un santo que le dieron. You know? And we probably had like 200,000.
They knew you had.
We didn't have much because I'm telling you, we used to turn $500, $1 million every night. But so now we accumulated it. Excuse me, there must have been like, I would probably say like anywhere from 80 to.
You just said they had 200,000. They didn't have much.
Yeah, it wasn't much at the time. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't money, but for us moving the money the way we were moving it, it wasn't money. You get what I'm saying?
Shit.
It's like when you're working out, you do 100 push-ups. There comes a time where you're doing 1,000 and 100 is nothing.
Yeah,
It's similar. So, you know, I was thinking about my mom because they threatened me with that. You understand what I'm trying to say? As far as like if I fuck up, they'll come see my mom. So what I did was when we walked past the block, right? We came back up to the block. The money was on 193rd in another building, and they set me up with a female. They was gonna go up 2 guys and a female, right? Because when they stuck me up, it was 2 guys and there was 2 females in the car, right? So they set me with her, and all I felt was like a pinch. She was hugging me. She was short. She was hugging me, but I felt this pinch against my torso, right? So I'm like, fuck, if I do a wrong move, I wanted to fucking just punch her and try to, you know, see that. But I said, let me play it cool. Boom. And they was going to go into the apartment. I told them, I said, yo, if you go in there, the guy that's in there, who was Moreno's cousin, you know, he was another nut job. He had orders that nobody could go in there after a certain time, not even me or Tom. We had to call him and make arrangements to go into the apartment, right? So, as I'm walking, they send me with her. So they stay in the car by 190 on Wadsworth, right? And they send me walking with her. So I'm walking, boom, 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 boom. In front of the building, the guys were outside. I think Richie, I think Ses was there. And like, you know, they thinking that I got another girl that I'm taking up to smash.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to like, you know what I'm saying, without her noticing that I'm trying to like give them a decoy.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. And I went right up to the apartment, right? And I told her, I said, wait for me right here. When I got in the apartment, bro, I couldn't even talk. I was telling Quilladito, I was like, yo, give me the gun. I was gonna smoke her.
Yeah.
I literally was gonna smoke her.
Thank God you did.
Right? Thank God I didn't. Yeah. Thank God I didn't. But she heard the commotion. Now Quilladito doesn't trust nobody. That was his name, Quillao. He don't trust nobody.
That was his job, not to trust nobody.
And he didn't trust nobody, so he didn't give me the gun because he don't know what the fuck is going on.
Wow.
In the interim, Tom happened to be in the apartment also by this time, right? So they hear the commotion. It's like, yo, what's going on? I was like, yo, my mother. And I had one of those paid cell phones. Okay. Right? So, because I remember...
Flip phone, Motorola.
I remember what I did was, I called 911. I don't know if it was from the paid cell phone or it was from the house number. Long story short, I called 911 and I sent the cops to my mom's house as a potential robbery.
Correct.
Because I now want the commotion at my mom's house.
You a smart nigga.
You understand? That's, yo, I couldn't... It was just this reaction. I couldn't talk. Right? I was like, yo, my mother. And he said, yo, calm down. Tom said, yo, calm down. I said, yo, give me the gun. So I said, yo, they're outside. You know, and I said, yo, I got stuck up. So Tom now grabs the gun, right? And yo, I get goosebumps talking about this shit. Tom grabs the gun and 390. When you walk down the steps, it was like you know, it wasn't normal 1 and 2. It was like you going around. Yeah. So you look down like this, and you can see the person that's looking up at you, right? So Tom mistakens her for my mother, cause she was short. right? So he's like, yo, Señora, venga, venga. So she's like going down. I'm like, yo, that's them. That's not my mother. You understand? So he follows them, right?
God damn.
Follows them, right? And you know, she made it to the car and they broke out. I sent the cops to my mom. I didn't go to her. I then walk up to my mom's house and I said, oh, you know, and I told them that I got stuck up. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't tell them, you know.
So your mom knew you was in the game?
My mother knew after a certain point.
You told her? Oh, she just,
Yeah, I had to tell her. Yeah.
She was already getting too much word in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's it. All the neighbors were
Lefty.
talking that I'm running around this car, that I'm running in that car, and then, you know, and I moved out.
That's the shit
You know
that
what
my
I mean?
mom's hated the most. She was like, motherfucker, if you're gonna do shit, don't let nobody see you do it, yo. Cause then everybody's over here telling me what you're doing. And she hated that shit the most, yo. God bless our moms, you know, the queens, you know, raised us in the hood. That's a crazy fucking story. I ain't know what the fuck. I never knew about the kidnapping shit.
Nobody really found out, so, you know, alluding to your question.
Yeah.
Right, if I ever came close,
Yeah.
for days, bro, we trying to backtrack and storm and like who could have done this, who could have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was other characters involved, which I don't even want to talk about that because again, that's in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I see them today, you know, like there was you know one kid in general that, you know, I was very close to their family.
Yeah.
You know, and he said he was pressure or whatever. And if I see him today, I don't hold no grudges towards that anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But for days, man, we were in the street, just circling, going to every restaurant.
You ain't
that
trust
we were here.
nobody.
Nah, bro. You know, and Tom was like, you know, he really like he used to drive in the car, right? And I'd be in the car, and he'd be like, yo, they disrespecting you. You know, this is something that we have to take care of. And he put the gun in me, and I remember walking into El Sentada. There was a restaurant on 192nd and Broadway. On that side, it had a green lettering up from the car wash. Remember back in the day, with the car wash, there was a big restaurant there.
Big restaurant,
and supposedly there was always sticker people that used to chill there. And he told me to walk in there and literally take care of business in there.
Okay.
And we had word he was one of the main characters was there.
Okay.
Thank God he wasn't there.
Next drug dealer on the block, right there. Fat boy, he's gonna wind up with Lewis up in Canada. There he goes. Bad boy. Damn, that nigga's on bad boy. Shit. That's me on the phone.
So moving forward, Lev, what was the moment that you realized that the feds is maybe breathing down your neck, and
It was a transition, man. Like I said, we was brought up that I put this here. You didn't see me put it there. And if you're accusing me that I put it there, that's not mine. And I could walk away, even if it was drugs, because I didn't know the system.
Correct.
You did what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, moving forward, Moreno, Manolos gets locked up. Now I go to the forefront. Now I'm taking care of other clients. And we were seen. I'll be in my girl's neighborhood in Dykeman, and I'll see the cops parked outside.
They were already following you everywhere you
we
went.
was in Teleparranda on Dykeman. Dykeman and Broadway, there was a Teleparanda. We had an apartment on Riverdale. We'll see the cars there. I remember one time we took the highway, and I knew they were following me. There was a toll once you passed through Yonkers up there,
Correct.
right? Or Riverdale, you gotta pay a toll.
Yeah.
The minute I paid the toll, I gunned the shit on a Lincoln Town car. I gunned the shit out that car.
Yeah.
And then I got out, I parked, and I seen when they was just boom, boom, and we seen them. You understand? So they were visible.
You ever thought about leaving the game at that point?
Nah.
Shit. And you remember the day when it all came to an end?
Yeah. Tom called me. He said, "Yo, where are you?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Where am I? I'm in. I was in a club on 183rd in Jet Set in the Bronx.
The
right?
infamous Jet set.
Yeah, I was over there, right? And I said, I'm over here. He said, no, wait for me there. I said, no, I'm going to the block. I said, I'm out of here. You know, I was dealing with this girl, and I didn't want to be around her that night. You know, I didn't want to be around her.
It was a hot spot too, bro.
Yeah, and I broke out, and I head to the block, and I remember when I went to the block, and late at night, I'm circling. I see cops on 193rd on the bus stop. The first bus, not the 192nd, 193rd, where when you go into the park, there was cars parked right there. I didn't think nothing of it. Boom, I parked. I went upstairs to take a shower to break out because I had my son's mother at the time she was just my girl. And I'm going home, but I'm gonna change. So I went up to my mom's house. And when I'm getting in the bathroom, that's when I got the knock. So when I look out, I see this skinny guy. And I'm looking at the people, and this guy looked like a fucking
fiend.
A fiend. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I said, here we go again. This is like the same movie. Yeah, I'm thinking. I said, yo, I'm gonna call the cops. And he says, we are the cops. And he went like this.
God,
you know. And I seen FBI and DEA. So I let him in. What I'm gonna do at the time?
You had the big boys. Do you think this all transpired from Manolo getting locked up and his crew and all that shit?
It could have been, yeah.
Okay.
It's a combination of a lot of things. Because when you look at the big picture, you know, the Colombians is getting heat. We lost work in Chicago. We lost 100 bricks in the Triborough with Manolo. You understand? So it's a lot of little things that's leading up, and that feds, they patching up their stories. They're different, you know what I mean?
And when Tom called you, he was under the custody of them already?
He was.
He was?
And we didn't know at the time, but
okay.
he was.
He was?
Yeah.
What were your charges? What did they charge you?
Well, I had leadership in my case, kingpin status, distribution. The only thing that, thank God, I didn't get at the time was RICO.
And I was going to ask you.
I didn't get RICO, thank God, because the RICO was, you know.
That was killing everybody.
But you know, my guidelines, because back then, I don't know how it is now, my guidelines would plus, because I had an enhancement, because I was one of the leaders, it put me at 41, which was 360 months to life. That was like my sentence. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? When you heard those numbers. And, you know, and remember, I'm 19 years old, so you know that transition. You know, I'm growing mentally. I'm growing also, because reality is like now, yo, this is reality, my dude. Wake up.
Yeah.
You dig?
And your lawyer, you got like the best lawyer in town.
Yeah, you know, we got some lawyers.
You had the money.
Yeah.
Yes, it was more than one.
Yeah, we had some lawyers. Long story short, they came. You know, he got me a plea. You know, because we weren't talking. That's another thing. We used to be, because I remember my first appointment, I didn't get a lawyer. Okay, this appointment, okay, there's going to be a lawyer. Okay. This guy's telling me that the prosecutor wants to talk to us. And it's like, yo, and I remember telling him, you know, in the visit, like, yo, you tell the prosecutor to go fuck himself. Yeah. Yo, they didn't bring us to court like for 8 months.
Were you guys together in court, you, Tom, and the other co-defendants, or it was just...
I started meeting co-defendants that I didn't know I had.
Holy shit.
You understand? Oh, you know who? Oh, you got court today? Yeah. Who you got? Oh, I'm in this case. But yo, we in the same case. Colombians that got arrested, and you know, and again, they were piecing everything together.
Holy shit! And when they put the hammer down, what was your actual sentence then?
I took a plea because they came at me. He said, "Yo, listen, this is it. This is what it is. You know, you take it, you go to trial." And they gave us a global plea. And in the global plea, we all had to cop out. The one that copped out to the most time was me, you know, because I had the most serious charges. Not only the most serious charges, but you know, because I was a manager, you know, boss type, you know, I signed 210 months to 262, and my lawyer said because of my age, you know what I'm saying, that he thought that the judge would give me the lower end. So I did the math. I said, you know, looking at the numbers, 210, oh, that's what it is? Well, at least it's not, you know, the 360 months or to life. That's what I was scared about. I said, do the math. When he divided that by 12 and he put 17 and a half to 20, you know, as I'm signing it, one of my tears came out. But that's when I realized, you know, that, you know, I'm coming home and I'm 30 something, you know, and looking back now, it's like us looking at 2035 now.
Of course.
Like you'd be like, yo, cars are gonna be flying. That's what they used to say back then.
They kind of are, but in a different way. Damn, my brother. You know, when we got that news, you know, us, you know, being from the hood and shit, we were, you know, of course we were shocked about it, but we kind of knew what you know, what was going on and shit. You know, I felt bad for, you know, people like you and Lee and everybody else because, you know, we grew up together, and when we heard those numbers, you know, it was like, God damn it, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I want to salute you, man, for, you know, always being a stand-up guy, and, you know, you came home after all these years. How many years?
I did 17 and a half years.
17 and a half years. You come home and, you know, a lot of people come home and they'll come home to nothing. You know what I'm saying? God gave you a second chance.
Absolutely.
Maybe 3 or 4 chances with this, you know, with the kidnapping and everything else.
I always used to know that there were times I was locked up and I'd be like, damn, why me? Why me? Why me?
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like you what I like to put that as a cemetery of living people. That's what it is, bro.
Correct.
You understand? Because the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, you know, you have people coming to see you.
Yeah.
But my friend, after the 10th year, the only one that's coming to see you is your mother.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Not even, you know, not even your close family members. Like, you know, nobody really cares. You become a page of yesterday. You understand?
You know, one of the reasons why I got you here is because regardless of the trials and tribulation, your story is a story of inspiration. I want, you know, to all the young cats in the game to know that, you know, no matter what, my brother did 17. He came home. You know, he's you know, doing well. He's in a good. He still got family. You know, a wife, married, right?
No, I'm not married,
Okay.
but I live with my girl.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he's doing his thing. You know, legally. You know, he's paying taxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I want this to be I want this to be a story of inspiration for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, to just be careful out there. You know what I'm saying? And you know, move with God, and you know, stay with your loved ones and family. And my brother, I appreciate you taking the time and being here with us. You know, your story is incredible, and you know, we we look forward to bigger and better things.
Absolutely.
My brother
Absolutely.
Lefty, Washington Heights Lefty.
Today's episode of Heights Chronicles is brought to you by Up Top Apparel. Represent Up Top with all the latest flavors from Up Top Apparel. Follow Up Top Apparel on all social media platforms at uptop.apparel or go to the website uptopapparelny.com. Tell them Heights Chronicles sent you heard?
Yo, thank you for being here. I got in the house right now my brother from another mother, literally. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much I can say about this man right here. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in the hood, 391, 191st connection. You know what I'm saying? He's also a part of that infamous group, The Company. We never knew it as The Company. We just knew them as Tom's crew. You know what I'm saying? But WPS, 391, and a Washington Heights native and representative. My man Raymond, aka Ses One, is in the house with us. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you being here, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming through to the Heights Chronicles podcast. And as we were talking with my man Lefty, you know what I'm saying? You know, we just tell us about your story real quick. What hospital you was born in, my brother?
I was born right here, my brother. Presbyterian Hospital,
Right across the street.
168, right across the street from where we at.
You in the heart of the
Fifth
hood.
floor at 12.
In the fifth floor.
15
Nigga said the fifth
a.m.
floor.
The fifth floor, dog.
Yo, Ses One, so you grew up your whole life in 193rd? Because you was like back and forth 193rd, 191st.
I grew up, I'm born and raised here. I was fortunate enough that my father had a federal job, so we traveled. So we lived like Colorado. I lived in Boston.
State to
I lived
state.
in, we lived in Texas. We lived in Connecticut. You know, so we traveled a little sometimes, but you know, mostly, you know, my mom's, she wasn't with all that traveling, so mom just stayed in the hood, in the Heights, when my parents separated.
Yeah.
So,
And your biological dad, he's still alive right now?
No doubt.
God bless you. God bless. God
Yeah,
bless
he's
you.
doing
God bless you,
good.
Dad.
He out in Kansas City,
Missouri. God damn it.
out there in the cornfields and shit.
But then you said that your mom's divorced your biological dad.
Yeah, well, yes, it was, I guess, mutual thing. You know?
Okay. And so then your stepdad comes into your life.
Stepdad comes in, stepmom comes in, all about the same year, age of 7, going on 8.
What was your relationship with your stepdad?
Horrible, man. Really, that whole transition, my step-parents never got the best of me. I was
But you was bitter because they divorced and you was always having
bitter, ignorant, not knowing, not understanding why. You know, that bitterness, you know, brings out rage, which the rage, nobody teaches you how to, you know, you become an animal, become something
And then
else.
what your stepdad, he was involved in the game, per se.
Yeah, from what you gotta understand, at that age,
Yeah, you're not really
when,
sure.
you know, I'm 10 years old, my man had, you know, we got our own room, me and my brother.
Yeah.
We have a desk, you know, with clothes on this side and a desk in the middle, and then in the center desk, you know, keep your notebook and all that.
Yeah.
It was always locked.
Yeah.
So every time my stepfather used to have his peoples come over, we'd have to get kicked out of our room, you know, so niggas get tight, so we go outside and play. But when we come back, there's always like a little glass on that, and then it'd be like white residue all over my desk. So one day, you know, me being curious, I unlocked the lock. I opened the desk, I see some white powder, but I see bread. I didn't know what the white powder was. I didn't give two fucks. I was like, oh, there's some bread. So I take a little honey here, honey there.
Yeah.
Before, you know, until we got caught. Me and my brother, we was like, oh, I'm going to buy a bike. He's like, you gonna buy a bike? Me too. Let's go. So he used to take the bread, but then one day, you know, I'm looking and I see and I take it to my man, I grab like a little gram. I take it to my man, I go, what's this? Nigga, that's cold, nigga. That's some niggas, they do it to cook crack. And I'm like, oh, word, is this from crackhead, nigga? So right there in my mind, I already, oh, my step papa crackhead. You know what I'm saying?
You thought he was getting high.
Yeah, you know, I'm not putting two and two together, because like I said, I'm not schooled to the game yet.
Correct.
So I'm like, oh man, this nigga fucking crackhead, you know. And we going around tagging up, you know, we beating up crackheads for being in the train stations and stupid shit like that. And I'm like, yo, this nigga, I told my mom, yo, ma, how you gonna be with a crackhead?
That's
And
crazy.
then she like, what are you talking about? I said, yo, he got crack in our drawers and blah, blah, blah.
So you fucking snitched on your stepdaddy, my nigga.
I told my mom, so I'm like,
that's your
yo.
mom's. Yeah, that's your mom's. I'm only playing with you, baby.
After that, they moved the shit, but then he kept the bread there. I didn't understand that. We was already hitting him up. He kept the bread there, so.
He know this. They was making so much money, probably he didn't even know.
So like a few years later, you know, I'm already hustling.
All right. And how old are you when you start getting in the game yourself?
I'm 12 going on 13.
And we talk about hand-to-hand shit.
No. I started off, Ruben, my boy Ruben, he had, like I said, the crack spot. And then he had a spot right there in the block. So he was like, yo, Ses, I need you to hold me down. So I used to do the alarm.
Yeah.
That's how I started off. With the little alarm, I'd be outside.
Yeah.
I go chill on the roof, look around.
Pensaba que se iba a quedar. Y cuando me volteé, ya se había ido. Then, I feel sick.
So, rest in peace to Ruben once again.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big part of this equation. And so you 12 or 13, 12 or
But he
13 years old?
introduced me to the game. Then from there, you know, we went from lookout and, you know, he had the crack spot. So he'd be like, yo, I need y'all niggas to bag up crack.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you, you know, this and that. And I was like, all right, do it for the price, yeah, nigga. One day, like $500 to a nigga in junior high school, that's like $1 million.
That's gold, baby.
You know what I'm saying? So niggas is out there in the apartment packing crack, fucking fingers tip bleeding, making bundles. then I mean would come pick up the bundles, take that shit to Creston, and have them niggas pitch it out there. And it was a process there. And then, you know, at first, you know, when you first get in the game, you're like, okay, one time, then that little offer comes back again, second time. Before you know it, that's just a job, you know, regular.
So that's one, but at this age, you still going to school and shit because you were like a football player.
No, of course. I still went to school. I still did what I had to do.
Fresh, with money.
But always, you know, trying to get money.
Yeah.
You know, and then right before, like, what was it, 89, Step Up gets murked. You know.
Your stepfather gets murdered.
Yeah, he gets murked in the crib.
I remember that.
The story was that, you know, my sister's godfather, you know, I'm not gonna mention his name, he came to my step-pops, told him, yo, I got 2 bricks, make me 4. So he made him 4.
Yeah.
Nigga Wayne did what he did, sold it. Then the people, I guess, found out, like, yo, this ain't 2, this is 2, not 4.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, who had the work? They're like, yo, that nigga had that. So the niggas went to him.
And
That's the end of the story for him.
the killers ran up in your crib.
From what I think he knew them because it wasn't no door was.
It wasn't a forced entry.
Yeah, no forced entry. Like I said, 2 days before he died, I had snuck into the crib because I had left my shit. Mom, you know, was like, yo, let's get out of here. Yeah.
So your mom's had a feeling that something was going on.
I guess he knew already. He already knew.
He was feeling
like he told her like, yo, bounce. So I left my shit in my room. So I went back. I went to get, you know, a little starter jacket. You know, so
your possessions.
You know, some snapbacks and a couple of Nintendo games. You know, I'm just throwing shit in the bag. I see the nigga come in the room with a rifle. I was like, yo, I'm like,
oh, your stepdad.
Yeah. So when he come in, he like sees me and like, oh shit, what you doing here? Getting my shit, nigga. You know, what y'all made us move for? He's like, yo, you can't be here. Trust me.
Yeah. Thank God he didn't blow your fucking head off.
I didn't think that joint had any bullets. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? So after that, 2 days later, you know, my mom's crying, whatever. So me and Little Rich, we go down to my building. Go to the apartment, I see police in front.
Shout out to Rich, 391.
You know what I'm saying? We in front of the apartment door, the cop is like, what you doing here? I said, I lived here. And he goes, oh, I seen your pictures on the wall. I said, yeah, you know. I said, I lived here. He opens the door. That nigga's laid out, dead, rocking my underwears. And you know, as a kid, you know, you don't really process shit. So the only thing I can say is like, damn, nigga, you had to die wearing my shit. Like, you know, like.
Rest in peace to your stepdad.
Yeah, like the stupidity that comes out of a kid's mouth.
Yeah.
The cop was even like, damn, nigga, that's what you thinking about?
Yeah.
You know, so that little era, man, just sparked a whole chain of events that, you know, continued throughout my whole, you know, young adult life.
When did you meet this guy right here?
Left, I know him since he was little, but Left was on the block. He you know, he would say we were chilling, everybody be on the block, and niggas was gigging on Left, talk about the parking attendant. That's the young kid.
Nigga was driving before we.
Yeah. Nigga wanted to park everybody's car.
And he was nice in the pool. I remember he was nice in the pool hall, the 183rd.
Phil introduced me to that.
Yeah.
That was part of cutting school.
Shout out to my brother Phil, Chef Phil. For those that don't know, that says brother right there. And
get that Dr. Feel Good drink.
Get that Dr. Feel Good, you know what I'm saying, coming soon. And he was nice and ball too. He was doing a little basketball thing for a little while. And
I could shoot. I was a good shooter.
And he's lefty, so
I wasn't fast, quick. All I could do was shoot.
And then, how did y'all get involved in the game together?
Well, at the time, after, like I said, after 90, Ruben passed away.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? After
Is that like 91, 92?
92.
Yeah. So,
August 2nd, 92.
yeah, so it was like, time I just come back, we started moving mad bricks. We was fucking getting like 150, 120 every month. Like, shit was coming in to the point where me and Little Rich used to spend days stopped in an apartment just counting bread.
Remember? When I came in, we used to fall asleep counting the money and we'd be pissed. Because
we lost count.
Because we lost count, remember? and they did me dirty too. Because I was the youngest one, right? Remember for Christmas? On New Year's Day? You guys, yeah, we'll be right back. Yeah, I went to buy some clothes and I got stuck in the
Niggas went to
apartment.
Macy's.
Remember that? Do you remember that? It was between you and Richie. And I got stuck. I had the New Year's. I remember
What New Year? I thought it was
You're talking about he got stuck counting money. He didn't get sticked up.
I got stuck in the, because Christmas Eve was
money.
big for Spanish Dominican family,
Of course.
I got stuck in the apartment, dude, because they went out to buy clothes. So yeah, we be right back, and I got stuck.
Nigga, we got back at like 4 or 5. I don't even remember.
It was late, like 1, 2 o'clock.
It was pretty late.
It was late.
Your brothers. So I want to say that Ses was the accountant of the organization.
No, we all were accountants, but that was mainly like
This nigga Left was running around doing
when
shit.
Left came in, Left was doing most of the running around.
Yeah.
And then when it came to like, nigga need 5 over here,
Yeah.
8 over here, pick up the bread. I jump in my bus or my cab every now and then, but mostly in the bus or train and we'll drop off and pick up.
Tell the people that was like your MO, like you'll dress up like in a suit.
Yeah.
To disguise, you know what I mean?
So like, I remember I had to drop off 10 bricks to a nigga 181st. He had a store, right? So, it was already like, it was 5 in the afternoon, so I was like, I ain't going just like that with a big ass bag.
You don't want to be
so
like that.
I got my football equipment shit. I put on my football pants, throw on my jersey, throw the shoulder pad on top of the bag with the bricks, strap that shit on, jump on the bus, I'm out. It's 181st.
Nigga was the smartest hustler ever.
Yo, whatever it took. Man.
Whatever it took to keep
To
it.
go undetected too.
You know what it is? It wasn't even worried about the police. It was more worried because we was in the Bronx. We hustling Manhattan. We hustling pretty much everywhere. But when we in the little section of the Bronx where we was at,
It was hot.
You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of like
Fort
grimy money.
Independence.
We right in front of the projects.
Fort Independence.
Yeah, and right on Fort Independence is like all these little grimy niggas. And then on top of that, we banging every chick in the building. So niggas is already hot with
They're
us.
already hating.
You know what I'm saying? And then every day is a different car pull up. We pull up. Tom, I don't know. He had a thing for buying hoopties. That nigga bought a Benz. Then he went and bought a Z.
I remember that.
And I'm just like, yo, nigga, where you keeping these shits? I don't know. I'm gonna send it to DR. I'm gonna
But
send it to
the Z
DR.
was official.
No, the Z was definitely official.
That was it. That was
Nice Z. That shit
That was a big time.
Sometimes guys owe money, and that's how we
Take that car.
Yeah. What you got?
The collateral.
Ses your story is incredible, and as we wind down, what's the most money you saw throughout this campaign? And Lev said that you guys were called the company, La Compañia. That was the name of your crew. I never heard that name from y'all. I just knew y'all.
Well, that was between us. That was really
Manolo.
the time of Manolo, La Compañía.
La Compañía. That was
Yeah,
the name of
because
it.
Manolo was that nigga was, funniest dude, big fat motherfucker. You come on, Coke would come in, that nigga be like,
Oh, let me check the
yo,
work.
let me check your ass. That nigga would break a rock. The rock is in his hand, and that nigga's breaking it and sniffing it at the same time. Like that.
That was crazy.
Yo, like that. He like,
It's good.
It's good. It's on the curve. It's on the curve. That nigga's had a
Mackin curve.
Yeah, the McAfee is on the curve.
McAfee's.
That's what he used to say, yo.
Says one. Now, unlike the rest of the crew, you were the ones that got away, per se.
Yo, you should buy this for your rugs, B. Magic shit?
We go to 96, right there close to Central Park. We camping there. So finally, Tom got a call. Somebody told him that, and the dude pointed out her family. We went upstairs to their house. Me, Tom, then Manolo came. And now Rich, and now I got Louis Lou downstairs in the car. So I'm in one car with Little Rich, Louis Lou's in another car. I go upstairs with my no-no. The nigga see me with the guy. I'm like that. So Tom is talking to them. So he's like, yo, go downstairs. So I go downstairs. Something tells me, yo, put away that gun. So I go take the gun to the other car, stash it. Go back to chill with Louis. Me and Rich is chilling with Louis talking shit. Right there, police roll up on us. Throws against the car. Start searching on what you're doing here. Nah, waiting for my girl. She went over to visit her cousin. She's in the building across the street. La muela. Police searches, nothing. 2 minutes later, Tom comes down with the doña, with the girl's mom, the brother hugging them, like, yo, no, ain't no problems, we good, like, you know, like it's all family. Yeah. So we about to 3-4 days later, hunted the chick. They found her, the police, she was in Yonkers. Niggas went to Yonkers, but at the end of the day, bitch was gone. Got away.
Goddamn. So as we wind down this episode, my brother left. You know, you did all this time. You came home, and now you're in a position where you could, you know, give us a story of, you know, how you made it out through the tunnel. What is your life like now in 2020?
Life is great, man. Can't complain. You know, when I look back, you know, the things I'm able to do today, you know, there was a point where I couldn't even imagine that. You dig what I'm saying? You know, because you know, coming home, you know, society, everything's gonna be against you. You know, and I ain't no college graduate. You dig what I'm saying? Shit, I don't even know how to fix a toilet.
You got
You understand what I'm saying?
2 felonies in you?
Not one, just one major one. That shit counts like for 10 of them. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman, you know, who vouched for me, who was in a position, and he gave me the opportunity, man, you know. Italian dude who, you know, I hold close.
Shout him out, man.
You know who he is.
Okay.
Brasco, man.
Peace to Brasco, baby.
Peace to Brasco. You know, he's the one that put his name out there, you know, when, you know, they didn't even want to hire me because of my record, not because of the person. You understand? Because if you know the person, you're going to be like, let's do it. You know? So, long story short, you know, but everything, loyalty, you know, even plays a role to this day.
Yeah.
You know, I told him, listen, I'm not going to make you look bad. You know, so I started, I was washing cars, you know, I needed a job.
Yeah.
And then I quickly, you know, scoped out the scenery. I said, yo, wait a minute. I said, yo, I never sold cars, but if you teach me, I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
Long story, he said, I got you. You know, put me through the ringer, you know, and I started escalating. Then I became a salesperson, then I was one of the top salesperson, then I went into manager.
Nice.
And, you know, and I'm fortunate enough that, you know, through a lot of hard work, you know, at the beginning of this year, right before the pandemic, you know, it was decided by, you know, the uppers, you know, the upper management, you know, like, you know, we're gonna bring them along. And they made me one of the general managers in the store. So, you know, I can't complain about life, man. If anything, you know, life is great, you know. There's still challenges, you know, that I deal with personally. However, you know, I'm doing things that I would never imagine.
You still look young, you still fresh, you know what I'm saying? And life is good. You know what I'm saying? You know, once again, you know, as we wind down this episode, I want to thank my guest, my brother, Ses. His story is incredible. We're going to have a part 2 and a part 3 with Ses and maybe the rest of the family, the rest of the 391 crew. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Lee, Rich. You know what I'm saying? Those are real dudes. And you know what I mean? I want to thank y'all and everybody for tuning in to another incredible episode of the Heights Chronicles, where we're gonna take things to the highest heights. You know what I'm saying? Word up. Peace and love to everybody. Peace and love to man, woman, and child. And peace to these brothers right here, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Already know.
You know what I'm saying? And once again, love y'all brothers, man. Enjoy Enjoy, everybody. Peace.
For promo use only, not intended for mature phonies. It's for the world, all my real ones and true homies. The following content I present may contain real topics for your brain, not intended for you lame. The Chronicles, taking you to elevated heights. Lights, camera, action is factual, factuation or facts, water and land. While we travel the globe, the goal to touch every soul. Let's go.